So art supplies can be very expensive. And if you want to have infinite colors with a limited budget, try these 4 paints. They're golden acrylics. You can get them on Amazon at your local art supply store, and you can mix any color. Actually, it's 3 colors and white. And you do not need black. You don't need neutrals. I'll show you. I love the range. And I believe the reason that they mix so well and they don't make mud is because they're very transparent, meaning they let the light through. And I don't know if they have it on these. A lot of golden colors have it right on the back, their transparency. Pick colors that go towards transparent. But these 3 are your primaries. I did pick a magenta as my red just because the range of purples is a little bit better. This is quinacridone magenta. And you can use any format. Golden has ones that are more fluid, ones that are dry a little slower, like heavy body. All golden colors are acrylic and they all work together no matter what form they're in. Okay, phthalo blue, green shade is my blue. And this is a humdinger. Benzimidazolone yellow. Really? Golden? I love your company, but that name is sort of a chafe, right? Okay. The blue is super strong. It has so much pigment. Watch that. I mean, it really will. So what I'm saying is start off with a tiny amount when you're mixing your colors. I like to use a little bit of all 3 to keep them from being overly bright. Let's see, let's make a nice lilac-y purple. But literally, I've done art classes where I have an assignment that we just see how many different colors we can mix from using only these 3. So you only have to buy 4 tubes of paint. It's easy to take around with you. I take it on vacation. But I love these colors because they really don't make mud. Tiny, tiny, tiny bit of blue. See how powerful that blue is? And I love working with acrylics because they dry quickly. They do sell, for people that are more used to working with oils, they do sell something that slows down the drying. I've never used it because I like painting fast. But everybody's got their own style. So as far as brushes, a lot of people ask me what kind of brushes. You can buy the more expensive natural hair brushes, but acrylic paints are really hard on brushes. So I always go for the synthetic. I'd rather more often have new brushes than, I feel like I can't really tell the difference. So it's just personal preference. And same goes with the long handle versus the short. It's just so like if you're standing up and painting and hopefully using your whole arm and really getting the energy in there, you might want the long handles. If you more often are sitting at a drafting table or painting sitting down, you might want the short handles. They're just a little easier to manage, but I like an assortment. So see, I've only used these 3 colors. Little fishy fish. Anybody know? Anybody old enough to catch that reference? I don't know if I did it right. Do you recognize that? My brother used to make me watch Monty Python. A lot of it went over my head. Oh yeah, look at this. See these fabulous neutrals? They're never muddy. Now, I'll show you, because a lot of people want to buy black paint. Black paint, black is the absence of color. And if you use 3 primaries, mix them in equal parts, which I didn't just do, you will make a pure neutral, which will read as black, but have more depth. See, this is really, and the way you can, and then you can add white and make beautiful luminous grays. These paints, they're the best. And Golden Acrylics, I don't know if I've already said this, the company that was started by painters, because acrylics used to be kind of known back in the day for being overly bright, and like you felt like you could spot an acrylic painting. And thanks to Golden Acrylics and maybe some other companies, I don't know, Liquitex didn't do too bad. The colors are sophisticated and mixable, and you can't tell unless you take sandpaper to it. I think that's one of the ways you can tell. And you might, I don't know if everybody knows this, but the difference between oil-based paints, oil paints, and acrylics. Acrylics are basically like latex, they just mean water-based. But the real difference is the solvents that are required to clean up oil paints are very toxic. So if you do paint with oil paints, please make sure you have good ventilation. Look at her little, I think he needs some more orange. I know I've only done a lot of oranges here, but you can mix, you really can mix anything. Let's see, let's make a nice. So this color that I used for his eyeball, watch what happens when you add white. Look what a pretty gray it makes. Oh, it's actually kind of purple, nice. So when you're mixing colors, if anything becomes too, like let's say it's too blue, then you want to tone it down by adding its opposite, or it's also called its complement. And we'll do a whole, I think if y'all are painting, you probably know your basic color wheel, but it never hurts to go over it. Your primary colors, yellow, red, and blue. See, like I have here. And you can mix anything using those 3. And then the secondary colors would be the ones in between. Primary, blue. Don't roll away. So this is your basic color wheel. Yellow and red. I'm using, it is kind of hot pink, but it counts. So then the colors that are secondary are the ones that are in between. So red, yellow, orange. See what I did there? So then between blue and yellow, you got it, green. And then between blue and red, purple, violet, oops, look how strong this blue is, and so on, and you can keep going, and that's where we get all the varieties of color. I gotta pay attention and work on this little fishy guy. He's looking silly. But so try these 3 colors and a tube of white and challenge yourself. See if there's a color that you can't mix. And it might take a little practice, but post in the comments if you have any questions, if you run into any roadblocks. I always use at least a little bit of all 3. So see, I've made this deep orange over here. I'm always gonna add, even if it's just a speck of that blue, just to tone it down. There, that helped a little bit, didn't it? I'm gonna make a deep. And the closer it gets to neutral, meaning equal parts, all three of your primaries, the more it's going to recede on the visual plane. You know what I mean? Like it kind of gives it depth. Like watch this. Sort of shading it without making it too. Your brain will sometimes tell you want to add black, but really, black just gets so flat. There you go, fish. Let's give you a little more of that. And then maybe towards the end, I will add just a tiny, tiny bit of a pure hue just to make it pop. I mean, not straight out of the tube like this one. I'm going to tint with some white. But watch what happens when if you show restraint through most of your painting and keep everything toned down a little bit, when you do add a pop of color, then it really pops. And it's much more fun. Like, look at that. See what that did? So that was just some blue. I love fish, don't you? Okay. I hope this helped. And post in the comments if you have any questions or comments or requests. Thank you for watching.